Today we're going to use Tinkercad to make a sweet 3D printable sign that prints face down. So let's get cracking. This is the website Tinkercad.com. It is 100% free and it's the absolute easiest place to learn computer-aided design. This is the design area. All of our designs are stored to the cloud. We have the options of keeping designs private, making them public, or using wicked cool shared links. Before I get too far in the project, I do want to mention to you that today's project is brought to you by PCBWay.com. Their easy-to-use website is my go-to whether I'm doing a 3D printing, CNC, or PCB prototype project. They offer prototyping for as low as $5, and you can also have your parts assembled. If you're looking for 3D printing or CNC, PCBWay offers a full suite of services that are useful whether you're running your very first prototype or a full batch of parts. Of course, you can learn more by checking the link in the description. Today, we're going to start with a shared link to help us be a little faster and give you a free font. To get to the template, I'm going to have you visit my website, HLModTech.com. I have got a page dedicated to Tinkercad. Tons of amazing categories, the day one favorites, the useful starters, but today I simply want you to go to the HLModTech digital library. You can also get there with the bit.ly on the screen. So real quickly, this is the HLModTech digital library. I've taken my more than 5,000 videos and I've tried to organize them in levels that help you find things a little bit faster. I do want to highlight there are shortcuts back here, including the sketch shortcuts, which you cannot find on the Tinkercad pages. Today, though, we're talking about the fonts. There are several videos down here for how to use amazing fonts in Tinkercad. I also give you some fonts for free, and I've just moved this file right here called Font Fun 26. When you click on this, it takes you to my Tinkercad project that is obviously set to copy and tinker. Please remember the golden rule of Tinkercad: give a reaction before you copy and tinker. This gives you access to all of these amazing fonts, and then what's cooler is we can reuse them. I have got tutorials that teach you how to add all of these. Today we're going to quickly add one, and then we'll use it in the project. So I'm clicking on Lego. I'm going to take the name and copy it, Control-C, and then I'm going to go to Your Creations, and I'm going to create a new shape with the name Lego. And then the important thing is I want to allow editing. When I save this shape, it is now permanently available in my creations. You can see here I have also added the Lego curved shape, and then I can simply ungroup it and make it say whatever I want. It is a super slick way to really upgrade all the font options we have in Tinkercad. Of course, it does take a moment to add them all, but then you've got this many options for your projects. Let's back up and start a brand new project with that Lego font. I'm going to simply hit Create New 3D Design. I like to start by naming the file. This is going to be called Push Pull. Once you click there, it is already saved. Of course, if this is your first time using Tinkercad, you may want to check out my day one tutorials that can be found right here. So let's start by getting that text. I'm clicking on Your Creations. There is my word Lego, and then we simply ungroup it and we can change the words. Now I need this to say push, press enter, and then I'm also going to do Control-D because I need it to say pull for the signs that I'm working on. Simply backspace and add a couple L's. There is my push-pull set of words for the project. Now I'm going to back up to the basic shapes. All right, so we're going to bring out the cube. I want to have a nice radius on this. I'm going to type 3, and you can see how smooth those corners have become. I just want to highlight really quickly, if you bring out a cube and you type your number like 3 and you drag the handles to change your shape, notice it breaks the corners. They are not the same radius. These values are also completely broken. So the simple rule is if you want the parameters to work, don't drag the handles. And I do want the parameters to work, so I'm going to stay with it. I'm going to make this 70 millimeters wide. I'm going to change the height to 4 millimeters. And I'm going to change the length to 45. This will be the size of my sign. Notice that fits in there nice and nifty. Of course, you've got all sorts of room to adjust these to fit however you want. I'm going to make this so it prints pretty quick. I'm going to change that to 35. I'm also going to click on the word push, and I want to bring it to the top of the project. I'm going to do that by putting the work plane right here. And then if I hit D to drop, you can see that part pops up. I'm going to choose to cut this in 0.5 millimeters. So I'm going to make it 0.5 millimeters tall. I'm going to do Control D, and I'm going to make it a hole. And I'm going to do Shift Nudge to move it away for just a moment. And I'm going to make that one a solid. Now I'm going to take those parts, select them, and I'm going to do L for align. And I want to make sure the red one is the boss, and I want them centered. And I want to put it at the very top so it's flush. If I select all those pieces and I do Control G to union group, that area is cut out. Now I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to make it white. Now I can simply select them all, choose L for align, and choose center, and I want to put it to the top so it is flush. We have just made our sign that easily. Now we can modify this too. Say we want to make it thinner. That way it'll print faster. I ungroup it, I click on my shape, and let's change the height to 2 and press enter. Now I can grab all these shapes, once again do L for align, click on the red one, and I just want to match the height. Bingo, that is adjusted. Now let's regroup these. I want to find the hole, and I'm going to hide it for a second. Now I'm going to try and grab the white part. Notice I did get it. It follows that line, and I'm going to lock it. Now when I do show all, and I do Control G to group, even though it says 3 shapes, it only groups the hole and the words. Bang, our project is built. I can now click on the white text, and I can unlock it. I'm going to attach these to a fence, so I simply need to bring out the whole cylinder, and I'm going to cut holes in the corner. I'm going to take that cylinder and I'm going to shift stretch it, and I'm going to type the number 4 and press enter. Today we're going to align these with the ruler. Check this out. I'm bringing it out and just picking any corner. I picked that one right there. Now I can grab all of these shapes, and if I simply change the green measurements to 0 and 0, it snaps right to those edges. Now I'm going to hit use midpoint. If I click on this shape, and I tell it to be 0, notice it snaps right to that edge. Same thing here, 0, snaps right to that edge. Now I'm going to move this in. Now if you remember right, this shape is 4 by 4. I'm going to change this number simply to 5 and 5. Now because of this measurement of 2, that means I've got a gap of 3 between the edge. If I only wanted a gap of 2, I make it 4 and 4. I'm going to do Control D, Shift Nudge to move that one out, and I'm simply going to adjust this number because this is already correct. If we type in 30, and so that we can get that exact same 2 millimeter nudge on that side, this just needs to be 31 and press enter. Check this out, Shift Select. We're going to grab these two, we're going to do Control D, and we just need to get them to the other side. Once again, we need to nudge these back so we get our 2. Here's another cheat. See how that's on the edge? There's my 2 millimeters to get it back, and we can also double check that the number should have been 66. How cool is that? I'm going to click and get rid of that, and I'm going to grab this entire project, and I'm going to do Control D. I'm going to shift nudge it for the other sign we're making, and then I'm going to ungroup it, and I'm going to find both of the push words. Notice it does take a couple clicks to get them. I'm going to change my pull to be the color white. I'm going to set the size to the 0.5 that we used before. Grab those and do L for align and make it come to the top. I'm going to click on that white piece, and I'm going to do Control D. Couple of shift clicks to move that one away. That's just easier to grab. Now I can make this a hole. I'm going to lock this for a moment. I'm going to grab all of these parts and do Control G to union group. Now we can click on the word, unlock it, and just do a couple shift nudge, and then just do shift nudge to pull it back where it belongs. So now we've got these two pieces that will print flush. We will flip them over in Bambu Studio. I simply now need to click on this one, and let's lock that and group these pieces as well. Control G. I'm going to grab the two red ones, and I'm going to choose Export STL. I'm going to store them in my 3D modeling folder, and these will be push, pull, base. And let's save the changes. Then I'm going to use V to click on them and hide them. Notice it's click, click, and one more click to finish. Now I can grab these two parts. I am going to unlock this one first. And once again, grab those two parts. Notice they are already placed right where we want them. And I'm going to choose Export STL. Same 3D modeling folder, but these will be called push, pull, words. And save changes. All right, so let's bounce to Bambu Studio, and we're going to simply hit Create New 3D Project. We're going to add the files. Note I'm in 3D modeling, and I'm grabbing both of them at once. When I do open, it says, do you want them to be a single object, multiple parts? And yes, I do. The reason we do that is because they line up instantly. If I bring them to the objects, I can now switch the colors to what I want. I'm going to make the base white, and I want the words to be black. Bang, just like that. Now I said we're going to print these face down. Are you ready for this? All we do is simply grab the project and rotate it 180 degrees. Notice if you stay inside the center of the circle, it makes it easy peasy. If you look underneath, it is ready to print. I'm going to switch back to my settings, and I'm going to just do 0.20 standard. And if we slice the plate, check it out, in 38 minutes, we will have our new little printed signs. Print plate, and let's send it to the 3D printer. And about 40 minutes later, we have got tiny signs that unfortunately did not want to pop off. Push and pull. How cool is that? So a quick wrap up. Of course, the first thing I want to remind you is how to get to those fonts, and then don't forget to add all the fonts that you want. You don't have to do it to all of them, but add them to your creations. That way you can put them to use in other projects. The other thing I want to highlight is that I have found when you're working with the multicolor, subtracting the text so that it's got an open space for when it 3D prints, I find that to be the key to printing things face down. Of course, this technique works for SVG files. I do the exact same thing where I cut the area out and then it lets me print the second color. Of course, you could use OBJ files. I just never like that I have to unzip the OBJ files, so I totally skip that and just have it all in my 3D modeling folder. Of course, I would love feedback in the comments down below. And of course, if you make something awesome, please tag it with HLMT23. And if you make it public, I'll give it a reaction in the gallery. Friends, I do want to quickly say thank you to everybody that supports me via YouTube memberships. Don't forget there are 3 different levels of support, starting as low as $5 a month. With any level of support, you get early access to video. Make sure you also pay attention for those members-only posts. A massive shout out as well to everybody that supports me via Patreon. Love how the group is growing. It has a fantastic free messaging area. You can ask questions, post designs, gain skills. Of course, you can learn more with the bit.ly up above or the link in the description. Finally, friends, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget every time you like, hype, share a video, add a comment down below, or click subscribe. You're helping HLModTech get just a little bigger, which absolutely makes my day. Friends, have a glorious day, and keep tinkering.